Okay, my name is Dr. Alina Chia, and I'm a lecturer here at the School of Media, Communications and Cultural Studies. This module is called Race and Technology. What we try to do in this course is think about racial forms and how, from the concreteness of a stereotype, you can trace it back to different kinds of racialized ways of categorizing and then ranking, configuring races such as Black, white, and Asian. All of these can be mapped on, in ways that, on the one hand, make sense within a racial triangulation structure, but on the other hand, there are also points of disjuncture which make culture such an interesting thing to analyze. Just to give you an example of the kind of material that we draw on and that we use as case studies in the module, we look at a few popular films, sci-fi films, for example, Ex Machina, which is a film that is futuristic, that looks at anxieties about automation. But one thing that is specific is how Asiatic femininity is portrayed within that film. Even though a character that we look at is not the main character, this fits in with a long-standing trope within sci-fi where minorities are part of the background. Another text we look at is Get Out. We look at this through the lens of Black plasticity. Blackness goes beyond these sorts of stereotypes, as I was discussing before, and instead is a kind of form that is malleable, that is able to be pushed and prodded into different containers, always according to a frame that it itself did not choose. We primarily engage with the text by Richard Dyer, White, which is a classic text, looking at how whiteness has a kind of aspirational structure and how it always hews to a kind of moralizing schema. And within these sci-fi contexts, what we see is a working through a negotiation of current anxieties.
So my name is Sharon. I'm a third year BA Media and Communication student. So what I find interesting about the Race and Technology module is there is no point in time where we go, oh well duh, that's common sense. I'm learning these things that I've never done before, that I've never thought that would be related to technology or associated with anything to do with this kind of data. So every week we have a series of readings, and usually we have one that is a required screening or online videos, and in these screenings it's always about how these actors in racial positions are basically being portrayed and stereotyped, what kind of tropes they are being used in, and what kind of broader themes this is actually linked to. And this basically also brings us to a lot of sci-fi films like Blade Runner, and how we understand the post-racial neoliberal human framework through apocalypse. It's so deep.
Well, I think it's relevant today because what it does is that it gives us a sense of the different kinds of controversies that we're faced with today. Instead of looking just at the current moment, to draw out configurations across these different cases. Political, social, but also cultural. Our department is really strong for its analysis of media arts, but also in terms of cultural studies. Coming to Goldsmiths was amazing because there were already so many modules that were on race, about decolonialization, about empire, that this really fit in because of its focus not only on sci-fi texts and how the aesthetics pair up with the social and political context. It has really helped me to develop my own research through teaching students. Every year, I get students who come in with all these brilliant case studies. It helps me to enrich the work that I do in terms of being a researcher and a writer. More recently in class, we discussed how the myth of the model machine, the way that Asians are oftentimes depicted as robotic, how it fits in with different threads about labor. And that has really informed my own work on media production more generally, and how labor is oftentimes racialized within these structures. And I hope that it's a two-way street in which I can bring back what I've learned, through my research to future generations of students.